Hey, this is Mariela from the Functional Company. All right, so today I want to talk about tips for anxiety. A lot of people are dealing with anxiety, and so now what I'm going to say is definitely not medical advice. It's just my own personal opinion, but here's the things that obviously, like whenever we're talking about anxiety, some of that aspect, some of those parts can be mental, but because I am in the field of natural health, I always deal with the body first because there are certain things that could be going on with the body that could create some sense of anxiety for the body, and those are things that we can immediately handle. So sometimes people think it's mental, but it's actually physical. The body's dealing with certain things, and that's what I want to talk about today. First thing to know is the blood. Remember, the most important principle of the body, which has to do with blood sugar. Definitely go back to that. It's one of my earlier episodes. It's a very important thing to understand because when the blood sugar gets funky and your blood sugar drops, one of the symptoms that people experience is anxiety. So as people bring down the total carbohydrates or bring down the sugar consumption and they increase the fats, one of the things they notice is they feel more satisfied, but they feel calmer. They don't have that irritability and those palpitations and that anxiety. So that's kind of basically one of the first things that I would just make sure to have handled to verify that it's not that, and very oftentimes it actually is that, and so it's a very easy handling. You have to really bring down your overall carbohydrate count to how many carbs? A good starting point is 60 grams of carbs per day. So there's a lot of things you can do. Learn how to calculate the carbs. I've got episodes on that. You gotta go through a bunch of my episodes, but here the main thing to understand is you have to go down in terms of the overall carbohydrates and then bring up the fats. A keto diet or a low carb diet with enough fats would do the trick. The point here is that we want to make sure that the blood sugar doesn't drop in between meals because that creates some anxiety and palpitations, nervousness, irritability, these sorts of things. So that's one of the things that I would say is a huge tip for anxiety. Another thing here are minerals. Remember that minerals come from the ground and they are very grounding. They're very calming. They have a very calming effect. These are things like potassium, magnesium, sodium, calcium, phosphorus, etc. So a nice mineral supplement or bone broth is going to be great to get some more minerals into the diet. Doing that consistently over time is going to help to increase that and feed the body so the nervous system is able to calm down. So that's one thing. Another thing that I would mention is oftentimes there is a thyroid issue going on. Whether it's hyper or hypo, there's a dysregulation going on with the thyroid. And remember, the thyroid actually controls the heart rate. So a lot of people experience palpitations actually because of the thyroid. So that's something to kind of keep in mind is one stone that you might have to turn. But remember that the thyroid is a little bit fussy, and one of the things that the thyroid likes is a very clean diet. It doesn't like, lots of sugar, so it goes back to that. A lot of people are sensitive to gluten or wheat products, so you kind of have to get rid of that. You just gotta have a very clean diet, whether it's paleo, low carb, keto, etc., grain free. You just have to clean up the diet as much as possible. Sometimes dairy affects the person. So you're gonna pump the body with plenty of minerals and get all of these irritants from the food out of the diet because that's gonna mess with the thyroid. It's not just like, let's give the thyroid a pill and make it stay in one spot. It's more just like clean out all of the stuff that's causing it to react so much, and then it'll settle down with plenty of minerals, a good diet, a low carb diet. Those things can, settle. So those are kind of the areas that I would look at. Maybe the last thing here would be the adrenal glands. These are the glands that sit on top of your kidneys, and they're responsible for a stress response. Like if you're chronically stressed for some reason, or there's an infection in your body, it's constantly handling all of those things. And of course, if there's a blood sugar thing, your adrenal glands go out of whack. And the thyroid also has a relationship with the adrenal glands, so it starts to get out of whack as well. So that's why I said, instead of trying to chase the symptom around and trying to get a pill for the thyroid and a pill for the anxiety and a pill for this and that, my thing is just more like, let's get back to the basics, really work on your diet, nourish, put a lot of nutrients, good fats, good minerals, bone broth, grass-fed butter, good coconut oil, olive oil, avocado, all these kinds of like really good fats, bring down your overall carbohydrates. Within about 2 weeks, people notice a huge difference. So that's kind of the first thing that I would try before I start chasing symptoms. So clear out the picture, get rid of any allergens or any kind of foods that you think might be irritating. Like if they cause digestive stress, those are things to stay away from. Sometimes it's dairy, sometimes it's wheat or gluten products, and sometimes it's corn. Sugar is definitely something that causes the thyroid to get a little wacky. So those are just kind of the things that I would think with as a baseline. I'm not saying that it's gonna 100% handle it, but this is where I would start, because otherwise, all of these pills, they're just dealing with the symptom. And how do we know if it's really mental? Well, first we want to handle all of the physical and then find out what's left over. And I have to tell you, time and time again, I've seen so many people just get handled in terms of the anxiety with plenty of minerals in the diet, bringing down their overall carbohydrates, controlling their blood sugar, and putting in good fats. So go back to the earlier episodes. I have a lot more to say on that subject, but in this one, I just wanted to share those little tips with you. Magnesium is a great supplement, for example. Again, it's a mineral, so those kinds of things, all right? So hopefully that was helpful for you. Thanks so much for tuning in, and I will see you on the flip side.